The book I chose to read this week is Strawberry Girl by Lois Linsky, and she's the author and the illustrator. This book was published by Dell Publishing. The original copyright date is 1945. It is an historical fiction book with 194 pages, and the age range it's geared to is 8 and up. It is the Newberry Award recipient of 1946, and the book takes place about the turn of the century, early 1900s in backwoods Florida, and it's filled with dialect that comes from the Crackers, and that is actually a positive term in the book, and Crackers refers to the Anglo-Saxon pioneer settlers that settled in the backwoods of Florida at that time. And the dialect, and one of the things about the dialect is that if the age group is too young while they're reading this book, I don't know if they would totally understand what's being said. It's some of the things are hard even for me to interpret. For instance, they use the phrase "I mean" in this book a lot, and I'm not sure what that means. But an example of the way they talk, don't you dare rake me with that air currycomb no more. Sich fine fixin's you all got. They got a bed cover in their eatin' table, Ma. Hit's a tablecloth. And then the mother says, I mean. And I'm not quite sure what I mean means, but anyways, the main characters, you have a family called the Slaters and a family called the Boyers. The Slaters are, they're squatters, and they're dirty, and the father's a raging drunk. He squanders away all his money. He raises cattle. He believes in the free-range cattle. And then in come the Boyers. They move from the Carolinas. That's what they keep referring it to in this book. That's part of the dialect. And they're kind, caring family. They're hardworking. They've got the Puritan work ethic. All the kids pitch in and work. And they raise strawberries. And they knew they were going to have to contend with the weather, but they never thought they'd have to contend with their neighbors. The neighbors' cattle trampled the strawberries, and they had a few hogs. They trampled the strawberries, and they had to deal with that. So Pa Boyer went and put up a barbed wire fence, and it made Pa Slater mad, so he cut the fence. Another fence was put up. He poisoned the mule, and then he set fire to the grass, and so it just caused a huge feud. And the very main character in the story is Bertie Boyer, and she is a 10-year-old girl that seems to be the center of all of the conflict. She tries to take care of everything. She becomes friends with a Slater boy, and they have their quarrels, and then they're friends. But the mothers of the group, both of the families, through everything, they seem to be amicable with each other. And then when Ma Slater got sick and the father was away, Bertie and her mother went and took care of them, and that's what settled the feud. They were on death's door, and when the father came back and learned of this, he changed his ways. He found God, and he sold his cattle and got a job with a phosphate company that was coming in and fencing up everything. So that's one of the reasons he sold his cattle also. And then Ma, the mother Slater, she decided to plant strawberries. So Bertie and her mother, in the end, helped her plant her strawberries. And an activity that I would use with this is a Venn diagram comparing the Slaters and the Boyers throughout as the students are reading this book. Of course, it would be towards older kids. But the illustrations in this book were just kind of simple sketches. And to me, all the people looked the same. The faces were the same, no matter who they were, but their attire might have been different. But overall, a really good book, and I tried to encourage my children to read it, and my 4th grade daughter had a little trouble with the dialect, so she didn't finish it. Maybe next year. Thank you.